While Mike he would where the company that he worked for, they did plant shutdown during like 2 weeks over 4th of July weekend typically. And that's why his uncle, who is his mom's sister, he worked with back in Missouri, we'd all come down together. We'd be down here for 2 weeks. And, that was a big deal. And then, you just had a lot of time to catch up with family and everything. And then for a while we lived in Arkansas, and then we could come down to, like we would come twice a year. So that wasn't, enough time to, and then when our boys got a little older, when they moved to George West, and we came a couple times a year too. So he was crazy about having those grandkids to chase after him.
This is
Fortunately, the travesty isn't died such a
Jimmy
young
always had a
age.
pencil stuck and always wore a khaki cap.
Like that one year.
Not that we want to get off the boats, but are there any observations you had growing up, going to school here, which would have been in the, war years on to Korean War time?
Other than first pair of shoes I got was when I went to in the 8th grade.
Whew.
Up until that time, you walked to school. Who needed shoes?
So who were your friends growing up here? Your close friends?
Most of them relatives.
Alpha.
Jim Ravel was my best friend growing up.
Who else do you remember spending a lot of time?
Kenny Nelson was my
Okay.
cousin. He's the one who got shot.
Right, I remember that day.
John Shanklin. I don't know if you.
John Molina.
John Shanklin. Johnny Shanklin. He lived in Florida until he died.
Right,
he's been
he
dead
just
for-
died about a year ago, didn't he?
Yeah, a couple of years ago. And his brother, he had a younger brother, Roy Lee.
Roy Lee.
And they have a younger brother than that. Those two were
Two more.
adopted.
There's
Yeah.
2 more of them.
Yeah,
By the Shanklin dad.
yeah, those two were adopted, and then they had 2 more. He and Leola had 2 more kids of their own.
Right, Art and Carl.
Yeah, Art and Carl. I know Art's around here somewhere. I haven't seen.
Both of them.
Talked to him yesterday.
Yeah, both of them are here.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them.
Who else do you remember?
Well, the Belchers, like Larry Belcher.
Mm-hmm.
He was my age. I know he had older brothers and.
What about girls? What girls were about your age?
Barbara Brown was one of them in our class.
Okay.
I think, hadn't she died, or she's still kicking? I know they lived right over there.
She died.
They lived over there on what's called
Brown
Brown
Street,
Street,
right.
yeah.
No, she's passed away.
Yeah,
Students.
I thought she had. Yeah, and the Studemans, Mary and Ann and Johnny. And Johnny's a good friend of my cousin Ned's.
Mm-hmm.
And the teller, the whole lot of the tellers.
Everybody is related.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
all cousins.
Yeah,
I'm not.
yeah.
Well, and then Aunt Grace,
Yeah.
Fred's wife, was his real father, Jack Hammer's sister.
Uncle Fred's wife, or Aunt Grace, was my Aunt Grace, no matter what happened.
Double,
Yeah,
yeah,
right. Mary was her sister, right?
No,
Nope.
no, they were
sister-in-law,
sister-in-law.
double.
My mom's first marriage was to Jack Hamrick, who was Aunt Grace's brother. Okay, so that made her my Aunt Grace. And then she married Uncle Fred, and when Mom married Pop, she was my Aunt Grace again.
Now, what happened to Jack?
I got it.
Hammer.
He ran off and eventually died.
Went
He
to El
died when he
Paso.
was about 45 in El Paso area. I didn't really know him that well. I mean, since we lived right next door to Uncle Fred, and he came to visit his sister, Aunt Grace, and we would go over there. We were obligated to go over there and sit and talk and say hi and all of that.
I don't know the Farley family that well. I've spent a lot of time on Matthews.
Yeah.
Got them figured out. But the Farley ones I've got to spend some time on.
Well, Don Roy was a cousin. His younger brother Field was.
Right, I know, I've met all these.
Cousin, and Don and May, I don't know.
No,
presumably.
Field's
I
not
know
here
her.
now, right? He's.
No, I think he lives out.
He hasn't built his house yet.
Yeah,
I think he's not going to build it now, but he was going to build it.
I haven't seen Field in forever.
Well, he was at Don Roy's funeral,
I wasn't there.
and Donna Mae was there, but I of course know all them pretty well.
But there was 3 sisters, there was Bobby and.
Yeah, they all had a nickname.
Mhm.
And
One of them
Pinky.
was Pinky,
Pinky is Dryer.
and she
Right.
married a
I met
driver.
her.
They lived in Arkansas.
She was here, I met her. Bobby, known forever.
Yeah.
Tizzy.
Who's the other?
Tizzy. Gillespie. Only thing I
That's
remember
the
was
connection
Tizzy.
to Gillespie.
Elizabeth, I think.
Gillespie, yeah.
Gillespie.
It was hard for me when we got married.
Yeah,
The
I
Hammocks
remember.
and
Had a
the
nickname.
Farleys, nobody had to use the right name, and I can remember they had this big, barbecue or something, and all these women said, I'm this, I'm Aunt this, and I'm Aunt this, and I'm, and my head just sort of swarmed by the end of the day, and I had to sit down and write all this out, because I'm kind of graphic at this.
I think we may have a family tree of
We
the
do.
Farleys. I don't know how recent it's updated, but it's.
That's one of our long-range plans, because prior to the Second World War, almost everybody was somehow related.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And we started with the Matthews.
yeah. There were a lot of Matthews.
It's
And-
huge.
And,
Well, didn't,
but with them, there's so many connections that you can just keep making the tree bigger and bigger and bigger. And we'd like to be able to
Well, I'm
put that out,
sure.
go all the way around the wall with
like,
it.
there was probably, 4 or 5 original families that settled here?
There was,
And then
Robert
the-
Matthews,
Yeah.
Farley, but I don't think the Matthews ever connected to the Farleys, ever,
I can't,
which is odd.
I
Oh,
don't.
you mean like marriage or
Right.
somewhere on them, yeah.
I have no
No,
findings that they were ever tied together.
We were just down at the cemetery and got a chute full of grass burrs, but we were looking at the,
Really?
yeah.
yeah.
We were looking at all the headstones, and I said, well, there's the Matthews and here's the Farleys, and I basically said the same thing. I don't recall any of the Matthews ever being related, but that, there's the Gillespies and the Dryers and all that, and never,
Matthews are Catholic. Farleys are very Protestant.
Yeah.
But
And that's
still,
probably why they.
small
didn't-
town.
They did not mix.
Yeah.
I'm Catholic.
And I don't think the Brenderettes were ever tied in.
Mm.
No.
The
So that's
Roberts,
probably,
So
but the
that
Dryers
was-
were, yes. It's just odd that, and the Gillespies were. And the Gillespies were tied to the Tellers
Yeah.
and the Olsons. But I just found it odd that you had 2 major families and they were never linked
Yeah.
in a town as small as this.
yeah.
Do you remember the Booyahs?
Mhm.
Did you go to school with either of them? Any of them?
They were both older than me.
So Aunt Thelma was married to one.
Yeah.
And, of course, they're related to Matthews,
Yeah.
probably.
The 2 Belcher brothers, is it not Leroy, what,
Larry
Larry?
Larry,
And who's the other one?
was,
They live in Hondo, or near Hondo, right now.
is there Donald?
Yeah.
there wasn't Donald, he's an older guy. I mean, he's one of the older.
It's a
There was
name,
actually 3 of them,
the reason the name came up was that one of them was in the museum months ago,
I think.
and we were looking at the lens from the lighthouse, and then there's a little pitcher for filling the burner,
Mhm.
and he said, you know where the burner is? And I said, no, because I have it. It's in my brother's garage, and in Hondo. And he
Yeah.
says, you think the museum would like it? Is the Pope Catholic?
Yeah.
And, so anyway, maybe we'll get that, but, it's, people grow up here and have this connection, but then they move away, and
Kinda like your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, kinda like that. The, Jim, your dad, Papa, was obviously a really talented builder. I mean, he could build, I guess, anything. He ended up building boats. Is that his passion? Is that something his father said you're gonna do?
I suspect that it was passed down from his dad, because his dad was a very, very good boat builder. They actually, during the war, they actually built PT boats up in the Rockport area.
Wasco.
Yeah,
Were the Farleys involved?
yeah, yeah. Pop's talked about many a time about building PT boats.
With his father?
Mm-hmm.
So both of them built together side by side?
so they went to Rockport, not just because they had the knowledge and somebody was building
Oh,
them,
just where they were building them.
that's where they were building them.
Yeah, Wasco.
Helden Fells or somebody else was building them over there during the war.
Did Jim, Uncle Jim, do you remember Uncle Jim's father, Fred?
No.
He was
He
dead.
died long before I was a kid. And I think he died in 36 or something.
Pretty early.
Your grandma.
It's on his gravestone.
Sorry?
Let's say it's on his gravestone out in the cemetery.
What else you
It's pretty nice.
got? Anything else you can
You
think
know,
of?
something I found kind of strange when I went, put down all right there.
Yep.
When I went out to the cemetery, I always thought Uncle Don was older than Pop. But it was the reverse, he was Papa's a year older to the day.
I didn't know that either.
It's on the gravestone out there unless somebody got that messed up.
Probably.
We-
Well, if they did,
We
it's-
can mess anything up.
It's fact
Yeah.
now. Have you seen the Farley family tree that Mr. Baker put together? He's a cousin.
No.
It's remarkable. Pat should have, has a copy of it over at his shop,
Uh-huh.
and it's really complete. Goes back, I think, certainly in the 1800s, a little bit before.
Wow.
Yeah. Bruce Baker moved here from Florida. His mother was from Florida. And he's spent at least 20 years working on that.
Mhm.
And it's really very complete. We can send you a copy if you want.
That would be
Very
great.
good.
Yeah,
Leave us an
what
email.
I'm thinking of is if I could,
I
you're gonna
don't-
leave tomorrow?
That was our plan.
That was our plan.
I have another aunt that lives up.
I don't know if I brought my,
I would love to
write
be
it
able to
down.
scan.
It's MS, it's
I'll
really
do it tonight
MS.
and
Dot
get it to
Farley
you
at Farley's.
after 6 tomorrow morning, or whatever time you say. But I can also give you, there's an awful lot of stuff in the Farley album that you probably don't have. And,
See, we're actually, we have a domain, farleys.org is our email.
I'll give you mine. I got a card up front, but that way if you come up with pictures we don't
Yeah.
have, send them to us.
Well, this is something we kind of wanted to see what you all had and what you need, because, I tend to dig out, but I've got, a lot of our photos are by the year, and so I'd have to go through, not have to, but I intend to go through
here's that,
every year and
Family
pull out,
tree.
like when we were here, because I took pictures
Yeah.
a lot, you know,
They're
You're our
all
kind of
valuable
gal.
to us.
You are our
So,
kind of gal.
and one of the things is, you probably wonder about this album, one of the things that I have been doing, is, his mom, Mary, was an artist, and she painted paintings. And so I've been going around, every time we visit any family, I take pictures of all her paintings.
Right.
And so, you know, this is my documentation too. and
Now,
this
do you
is-
have any of this stuff scanned?
This is all on, yeah, on my laptop.
Because that's a lot better than me.
Yeah.
One of the realities is, the picture alone doesn't mean anything. But if we could get a little annotation there, that would sure help us. And to put in this Farley album.
So all these are like, half of these are Mary Farley paintings, which is, she painted from a lot of Port Aransas, George West, but
Oh, wow.
there's this one in particular, like
Yeah,
these are
now live 5 husbands.
this particular painting was Pop's favorite, because he'd say, nobody gets this. You know, and when, like, this is the one she gave us, not this one. She gave us this one for a wedding present. We were married in '66, so you can, this is pretty vintage.
They're gorgeous.
And they're gorgeous. So when Pop died, she said, all right, each take, because he had 3 paintings that he wanted to, that he said were his favorite paintings. So it went by age. Philip picked his, Larry picked his, and this one was the one that was left, which is the one we wanted in the first place, because I loved it, the ducks. And this was the other one, which was basically, you know, kind of a fall scene. So, and Philip had that, but so that our children have this historical, well, you know, as I've been going around doing this, then the cousins are saying, oh man, and I want copies of these, you know, because this is a pretty neat collection too. So,
Do you know who taught her to paint?
she took lessons at the community center, with Aunt Thelma back in, what would she say, about 1950, what was the lady's name? We can get
Aunt
that
City,
here.
Aunt City Peoples was her name, and
Was
then
it?
she married
Boone Walker.
Boone Walker. It was Aunt City Walker.
Okay.
She's the one who trained
That was the lady who had, gave the lessons, and a bunch of the
Yes.
ladies got together. And I mean, this was like
Leonard Walker.
her. Leonard Walker.
Yeah.
but her paintings got scattered all over because she sold them at all the restaurants around.
Good for her.
You know,
I have one of her paintings.
do you?
Yes.
Ooh, then I need a copy of it.
I will scan it.
Okay. So as we uncover,
Seascape.
you know, find Christ's seascape, as we,
So, are you gonna scan those, Mark, or are you gonna
Want
use
this?
Well,
yours?
if you already have them scanned, I mean, they're in your computer.
yeah, they're in my computer.
It would
Wow.
be, it would be
You need to
so
send
much
out-
better
I'll
if
send them as an
you
email.
could just put them on a disc or something like that,
Yeah.
and maybe go through by year again and see
Well-
if there's any more that.
Yeah, like, some of the stuff, well, I only have pictures back to what, 2000, maybe on digital. Beyond that, they're all in albums. But I kept my photographs by the year in photo albums, and I have them at home, so I have to go year by year, go through, and sometimes there are 2 or 3 albums per year, and it depended upon event, so beyond 2000, I've gotta go through photo albums to find old pictures.
Is that, cause I don't wanna ask you to do any more work than you wanna do.
I
But
would.
how,
Certainly.
would it be much of a problem to, as you're just pull it out and scan it?
Mm-hmm.
Probably everybody in the family's gonna wanna
Right,
have it anyway.
and I have a scanner,
anyway.
I have a
If you have
scanner,
a scanner,
Oh, yeah, I have a
that would be,
Here's my email.
okay,
I'd like to communicate with you.
yeah.
I want to do
Well,
art.
Philip forwarded, but it was kinda like we didn't really know what to say, what we had, we kinda wanted to just come down and talk to you guys, and
And here you are.
so Mike has,
We're going to do an art show of all the people, of all the paintings done by the people that were trained by Leonard Walker.
Mhm.
And so these scans are really, really a treasure to us.
great,
Yeah, we don't have very many originals, we don't need them.
no,
Because it's such a great island story.
Have you spoken to Aunt Thelma?
Thelma Tiller?
Nell's,
We have,
Ned's mother?
we've
No,
never
haven't.
done an interview with her.
No.
She's a character.
She's a,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
Is she
she's
a
90,
painter also?
We need
Yes.
to do it
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
quick.
she was a
and you better do
portrait
it, she's 92, but
painter.
she's
Be
sharp.
93 in February.
She's sharp. She's a wonderful historian about this. You know, I also have tapes that, videotapes of his mom telling stories about
We'd love those.
riding out the hurricane.
Yeah.
And because I wanted to, that was before she met Mary Jim, when she was just over here working. She used to work at the drugstore. But they rode out the hurricane in the rock cottages, the hurricane of
No,
what,
we were
40?
in Barney
Barney's
Senior's
house.
house.
And I mean, I heard that story for years and it never, you know, it was always, and so I thought,
Probably the 42 story.
right, and I wanted that preserved, so I have a video, I have that on my laptop.
We would love those, and you can get them tomorrow.
The,
Martin,
uh,
are you listening?
I'll make copies of all that.
Yeah, and you have,
Yeah.
what is so neat about this, all this stuff has come from, let's say, I don't know how many different places, but there's Leonard Walker.
Yep, there's-
All I did was hit Leonard,
Yeah.
and then that's where she lived, worked, telephone. There she is teaching Sunday school in the Presbyterian Church.
Okay, so you're putting it together by families then
And,
too?
well, no,
By
this
every
was,
way, man.
this was within 15,000 photos. All I did was put in Leonard. I didn't even put Walker.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what, this is what has come up. There's the house, there she is fishing. So it's really neat to be able to have a little background on the photos, because then you can
Yeah.
pull out right away.
Right,
we have the counter that she worked at in that drugstore, in the museum. It's their gift shop counter.
wow,
If you'd like to see, if you're able to show it to me.
yeah. When is the museum
I'll
open?
take you by there, I've got a meeting. at 5
Whenever
o'clock.
you want to be.
I have a meeting at 5 o'clock if you wanna
It's
just join
5
us
o'clock.
over there.
Oh, over there, okay, we'd
Yeah,
love
I-
to.
Yeah, good. I'll be leaving in a few minutes, so why don't you come right over there and I'll show you this counter. It was at the Tarrant drugstore.
Because, you know, Mike we've got other things that, you know, possibly that,
Oh, no, you don't, you've got to, oh, sorry.
We're
okay,
working on putting it all on there, and we'll have it.
And
okay.
have you written down your address? Because I'll put all this,
We have.
okay, I'll put all that, what we have, and send it to you.
Okay,
It's interesting how
Jump back.
excited the younger generations get when for Christmas they get a CD with all, you know, all the old pictures on. And there's usually one person in a whole big extended family that really keeps up the
Where are
history.
y'all staying?
with
And,
Aunt Thelma,
Okay.
at Thelma's.
Oh, right next door to Ned's
Yes,
place.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she's in that trailer.
Trailer, yeah.
I kinda went, my God, she's 90 something, we shouldn't be staying there, and she would just have a hissy fit, we didn't stay with her, you know, so.
Well, I don't know, between Una or whoever,
Well,
there's so many people you could stay with.
Yeah,
Well, we went by Una's a couple of times and she wasn't there.
and I kept
so
saying,
I'm
we
assuming
could
she-
certainly
The-
stay.
Maybe
there.
up at
Una's not
Donovan.
here.
Yeah.
There was a meeting that I had last night at the Presbyterian Church, and Una's on a committee, and she didn't make it because she was somewhere else.
Oh.
Now, her daughter was there, Nona.
No.
Yeah, that's the,
Last time I talked to her,
Okay.
she was tempted to go to
Now,
Donna
look,
Mae.
there we go.
Donna Mae.
There's Thelma.
Yeah.
Oh, where's Thelma?
Yeah, that's Thelma.
There, so it's neat. All I did was put Thelma in, you know.
Yeah.
And so that must have. Oh yeah, there's Thelma. Okay, Tom.
Well, we have picture, I think we have a picture
Go
of,
back one, please. Please.
Back one.
that's
That's
Thelma,
bouillon, yeah.
that's Booyah.
Zoom in on that house.
So, and then she appears somewhere, or in there in the community center.
Yeah.
There
Can't see you,
by a
can't
boat,
hear.
and there she is with the fish.
No, I can't walk.
And if you put Tom Teller in, then there are pictures of him in Alaska, and it's really neat to
Yeah.
able to pull all that stuff
Yeah.
up quickly.
That is cool.
All right, I'm gonna shut
I wanna show
down.
you the counter
Oh, okay.
where your mother worked. You ever remember a sailboat coming out of that shop?